Yoo-hoo! Welcome back to Tasha's Heirloom Kitchen. And today I'm making Pawtuckets. It is my great-grandmother, Elliot's recipe. She was my mom's grandmother. And this isn't written in her handwriting, but it is written in my mom's, probably like a teenager version of my mom, which is funny because her handwriting is still very similar to this. Pawtuckets are something my mom made a ton when we were little, and she always covered them in powdered sugar, which I couldn't understand because they're kind of like a brownie. And I was like, Mom, why don't you put powdered sugar on brownies? She'd go, well, they're not Pawtuckets. What is a Pawtucket? I have no idea. Like, where did the name come from? No clue. But we're gonna try this today and see how we do. So, the first ingredient is a cup of butter and then 3 squares of chocolate, which you're supposed to melt it and let it cool. So I already did that. And I asked Siri what a square of chocolate was, and she told me 1 ounce. So I'm using this baking chocolate. I used 3 1-ounce squares. So basically 3 ounces of chocolate. Which, now that I'm thinking of it, I only used, these are 1/4 ounce, and I used 6 of those. So that is not enough chocolate. Oop. So, back to the drawing board here. I'm going to have to put a little more chocolate in here. Okay. Four pieces is 1 ounce. And I used 6 pieces. How much is that? Yeah. And then I just put 2 more in there. So that's 2 ounces. And I need another ounce. Correct? Okay. I'm gonna use 1 ounce of chocolate chips. So it helps to be prepared, and I was trying to do that, but here we go. We're gonna add 1 ounce of chocolate chips. And I'm using my handy scale here to do that. Actually, probably not gonna. Okay, now we have the right amount of chocolate. So 3 ounces melted with a cup of butter, and it needs to cool before you add it because you're adding it directly into the eggs and everything. So our first step is 3 eggs slightly beaten. I'm gonna add that to our mixer here. And already beat them, so I'm not gonna turn it on. And a cup of sugar. And I always weigh my measurements. So this is 200 grams of sugar. And then it says to beat these. So we're gonna beat them up. Okay, and these directions don't give you any instructions like beat until like colored or anything like that, so we're not going to do that. We're just going to follow what is written, because obviously it worked a lot of years ago. Okay, the next step is to put in 3/4 cup of flour and a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. I went ahead and measured, weighed my flour and put my baking powder in here because it is telling me to sift it. So I'm a little sifter here, and I'm gonna scoop this in here. You know what else I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take this off right now because it's annoying. Sift this flour in directly into our mixing bowl. A little bit messy sifter, but that's okay. You know, I don't understand why some recipes call for sifted flour and some don't. I'm sure somebody out there smarter than me knows that, and you know, honestly, I've probably read it in a cookbook, but don't remember. All right, next we do a tablespoon of vanilla, and it just says to add all this. It's not telling me to mix separately. So we're doing it. We're doing what the recipe says. I usually measure this with my heart. However, it's a lot, a tablespoon. So we're gonna go ahead and tablespoon it up here. A little overflow. That's our heart measurement of the vanilla. And this is the good stuff. It smells so good. Okay, and then it says to add our butter and chocolate. So we're gonna add that right in here. Goodness in there. It's good stuff. It also calls for a cup of chopped nuts, but we are not adding that today because I have a child with a nut allergy and he really wants to try these. So we are not going to add the nuts if they're optional. My mom never added nuts because, well, they're expensive. And if you don't really super love pecans, it doesn't specify pecans, but I assume that's what they would add, then just skip them. Not a big deal. Okay. Because you don't want your flour to develop a lot of gluten, we're not gonna overmix these bad boys. Pawtuckets. I know, I'm gonna mix it in with, I'm gonna fold all the sides in. So we're not overmixing here. We already beat those eggs up, so they are gonna bake in really nicely. All the goodness we can out of here. Now wishing I used the bigger side of this spatula. But here we are, working with our decisions of 10 minutes ago. Okay, it does not specify what size of pan to use on this recipe. But considering we only use 3/4 cup of flour, I'm going with a square pan, which I believe is an 8x8. Also, I always cook our bake, brownies, and cakes in metal pans. I just think they bake more evenly. I do not like using glassware for baking these. Some people do. I don't prefer it. Also, I got these little handy parchment paper holders, clips, and I love them, especially for stuff like this. This batter is a little more liquidy, but some batters that I do, like when I do cookie bars or whatever, it is thicker and it's hard to spread it out So it's nice because that holds the parchment in place. Also, this does not say to use parchment. However, the last part of this ingredient, or these instructions, is to cut into squares while hot and roll in powdered sugar. I don't remember my mom ever doing that. So she always just sprinkled them on top, but because the recipe says that, we're going to give it a whirl. So that's why I did the parchment, so I can pull it out of the pan easily without destroying the squares. So let's give it a go. These only have a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder and no baking soda. So I don't think they're going to rise a whole lot. I believe these are really fudgy, and just like the baby food cake, I don't remember my mom making these past a certain time. So somehow they got out of the rotation of our regular baking, and most likely, I have 3 younger brothers, and my mom was just surviving at some point. She was also a pastor's wife, so you know, that's just busy for a mom, and getting to bake from scratch all the time doesn't always happen. And so my guess is box mixes became more of a regular thing. We also ate a lot of chocolate chip cookies, which were a big favorite in our house. They still are, and something that will probably come around on this channel sometime. Sticking these in the oven at 350 degrees for 25 minutes. Also, little plug. Oh, hold on, let me turn on my timer. If you do not have a double oven, or do not have room for a double oven, like a traditional double oven, these single unit double ovens are amazing. And I love it because I do so much baking in the holidays. It has saved my life, especially this year. Also, we still got some Christmas up because we love Christmas in this house. Okie dokie, hold these out. That's what they look like brownies. And they did have like a big bubble right here and a crack, so I'm not sure what that's about, but it's kind of cakey too. I don't know. We're gonna see. I do not remember how these taste. My son's sitting here and he says, they smell so good. They do, they smell very chocolatey. The baby food cake that I made was my great-grandmother's recipe. This is my great-grandmother's recipe. Not the same great-grandmother. My mom was blessed with 2 grandmothers who loved to bake. And we have a lot of both of their recipes. And some of the recipes I have are also my grandmother's, my mom's recipes, and some are my dad's mom's recipes. So I have a whole wealth of grandmothers that were bakers. My mom was telling me her grandmother, her name was Elliot, made Pawtuckets all the time. But what she did was she always changed the icing. So she said sometimes she would put peanut butter icing on them, sometimes, and peanut butter was the main one she remembered, plus the powdered sugar. So probably won't be doing peanut butter as for our previous mentioned reason. Although I do have 2 members in this household that would appreciate the peanut butter, but we're not gonna do that. Okay, I'm gonna try to pull this out of here. I don't know how else to do this better. They smell so good. Okay, it says to cut these and roll them in powdered sugar. So, didn't plan this very well. Let me get a bowl. I'm gonna put some powdered sugar on one of these plates. One of these is for taste testing, of course. I'm gonna put some powdered sugar on this plate and attempt to roll these in it. This could be a disaster. We'll see. Does anybody else find working with powdered sugar to be always messy? Rarely is it not messy. But, like, how big of squares do we do here? Okay. I mean, that just looks fudgy and moist and delicious. So we're gonna do a little rolly through some powdered sugar here. Okay, that wasn't terrible, so shall return in a moment. You're hearing my dishwasher right now, which probably should have thought of that before I started this video, but this is not all of them. This is just a little playful. I will say, I was skeptical of cutting these and rolling them in powdered sugar because I thought, like brownies, they would be crumbly and fall apart. However, they're not very crumbly at all. They have a little bit, it feels a little bit like a cake-like texture. However, one may have fallen apart and I may have tasted it while I was doing this process, and it was not cakey at all. It was very fudgy and good. But I'm gonna go ahead and try one. I am not a consistent cutter of the squares, so maybe you'll be better than me at that, but I cut a little baby square here, and I'm not going to use a fork. I'm just gonna taste it. Y'all, that is so good. It is so chocolatey. I don't even know how to describe it because it does not taste like a brownie. It's not as rich as a brownie, but it is so chocolatey and not cakey at all. But it's also not chewy like a brownie. I really don't know how to describe the texture. It's a Pawtucket. So here is my great grandmother Elliot's Pawtucket recipe. So join me next time in Tasha's Heirloom kitchen to try another family recipe from my grandma's recipe box. I want to say, I kept saying Tasha's Heirloom kitchen in my video, and I know it is Tasha's Heirloom table. So moving forward, I will get that right.